Hey everybody! Hey, welcome to the Q&A with Kassy, Crow, and Joe.
Yeah.
Yep. So, if anybody's got any questions at all about tonight's episode with Kassy, or with Crow's episode last week, or hopefully you've all rewatched Joe's episode, and maybe you can, maybe you've got some questions there as well. Yeah, so anyone got some questions? Everyone's just saying hey.
Yeah, we're like on a 10-second delay, but I did enjoy Cassie's little Q&A there. I loved it. It was great.
Thanks, Joe.
I've always got to ask a silly question.
I especially loved when she's like, "Yeah, I have this. I have a Sony AX53. It's nothing fancy." I'm like, "That's better than the Sony camera I have. It's an AX32."
Well, there's like fancier cameras out there. That's why I'm like. Anyways,
you got a good camera. What are you talking about?
I don't know. I just feel like there were better ones that people talk about.
And she has like a supercomputer on top of that,
Right?
She does.
I gotta laugh at that one. I'm like, I got an AX33. Yeah, it's 4K. Yours does better in low light or night vision.
Hey, real quick though, dude. Tomorrow night's episode of her. I was privileged to get a sneak peek, and this is, I'm telling you, I cannot explain this, and I think it's definitely her best evidence caught. Hell, probably the best evidence I might have ever seen her. So it's damn good.
I wasn't privileged enough, so I'm going to take Crow's word for
it. I'm sure she'll share with you tonight.
Yeah, I wasn't privileged either. So
you guys want to have? I mean, it's like big. If you want, I can give you I made them unlisted videos. Like I did 2 clips.
No, it's all right. I'll wait like everyone else tomorrow for the big surprise.
Yeah, we can wait, but I'll remember that, Katsy.
I think she just needed a quality control, just to get somebody's opinion on it. I was really asking. I was like, I want to see it. I couldn't wait.
I know. I was like, okay, I have to make them into like little YouTube shorts because they will be a YouTube short once. Like I got 2. I mean, there were multiple things for this whole episode tomorrow, but those like 2 that to me stuck out. So I made them into YouTube shorts. I probably will make a couple others out of that episode because tomorrow's episode, guys, is like next level. So
I can't explain it. I mean, seriously, there's no explaining this at all.
Well, you're hyping it up pretty good there.
Yeah.
Better live up to them expectations.
Yeah.
Can I ask everybody in the chat? I can see everyone perfectly on my StreamYard screen, but I'm noticing that the YouTube feed I've got, everything looks blurry. Very strange.
You're good.
Anybody else
I have it
having
up
that?
over here.
Yeah, I'm looking at it too. It's good.
It's just my stupid computer then. Oh, good. Oh, golly. Everyone's still just saying, hey, I think. Let me have a look in the comments.
It'll take quite a few minutes for everyone to come in and say hello.
You just saw each other, people.
No.
We've already said hello.
You just, like, dude. But it was...
Quit being nice to each other, man.
Yeah.
What is this?
Oh man,
got the real cat in here.
That's why I come in like late on a live. It's like, hey, hello everybody. This is a blanket hello for everybody at once. Like blanket hello.
Was Ron impressed with his little camera drop on your episode there?
He missed it because he was coming in from outside, and then he was like put it on the TV, and he just missed it. So
he'll never live that down ever. That'll.
Poor guy.
And one day, 100 years from now, when he dies, and there's a memorial for him, we'll all go. And remember the time he dropped Kassy's camera? Poor Ron.
See, Kassy, I don't let anyone hold my cameras. I about had a heart attack when Eric Connor held my camera. I'm like, oh, because Eric's got a thing for dropping stuff. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, no, don't touch.
But for your camera, yours is just a 33, dude.
Yeah, well, I know. It's just a 33. It's not a 53, but.
Well, no, I'm not gonna let that one down. I guess, or you guys don't let it down. No, there's other cameras out there people talk about, like they're like fancy cameras. So
no, I mean, like the one I just got, it's for cinema stuff, and whatever. But your 53 is awesome. Was that the one that was dropped?
Yeah.
Well, my line's better.
I'm not good. I have to have someone holding it because I wouldn't. My phone, I don't know. Ron and Reese, it's all them. So because I don't know how to operate it.
Nobody's touching this new camera. Not even Matt.
Oh, that's the one you got the other week.
Yep.
No, yeah. That looked wonderful. Took some pretty nice pictures. What did you end up doing with the card that was in it that belonged to someone else?
Oh, I did see if there was stuff on there, and there was. It was a beautiful Asian lady playing in snow. That was it. I was nervous though. I was like, I really want to see what's on here. But
you're never too sure when someone else has got a camera that they've left their stuff in. It used to be too sometimes back in the day when I was much younger and we only used rolls of film and had to get it delivered, get it developed at the shops. And if you every now and then you would inherit someone's camera and there might be a roll of film in it and you'd think, oh no, I better not. Like you'd be tempted to get it developed because you'd think, I wonder what's on it, but then you'd think, nah. Just in case. Oh, I actually said the nah, didn't I?
Getting teased a little bit about the footage that was on the card.
Yeah, how many times did you? Yeah. That's Frank, isn't it?
Yeah, that's Frank.
Well, it doesn't look like anyone's got any questions yet. I'm still waiting. Anyone got anything they want to ask Kassy or Joe or Frank? Frank. Don't ask.
Yeah.
You've got Frank on the mind.
I just saw his name there. Don't ask Frank anything. Gee, Joe, Crow, or Kassy? Questions for?
They're all like, we hear from these guys all the time. We don't have anything to talk to them about.
Right. We're just here to hang out.
Well, you know where the bacon is. You're not in the room. There's no room for you today. Spotlight is on Kassy, not you. You'll get the spotlight another day. Is he just in the other room, Kassy?
Yeah, he's in the living room.
Where's the episode, Kassy? Sorry, being out of the loop.
So
yep.
It will be tomorrow if you're talking about part 4. Tomorrow, part 4 at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And apparently at the end of it, there's some pretty good evidence that Crow has been privy to, but no one else.
Guys!
Crow's Kassy's best friend.
You're going to bed, Ron. You
No, Ron. Sleep tight, mate. You'll be all right, mate. It's all good. Love ya.
So there are a couple of questions in chat, and they're all, of course, for Kassy.
Oh.
Sorry.
Kassy, how old were you when you knew you were claircognizant? Wow, that's a big word.
That means, hold on. Is that, what's the cognizant one?
I don't know.
Basically, like, I don't.
Hold on,
like
Google
math.
on this one. I bet Jamie people will be faster at this. Claire. Cog.
The
Mike's over there.
Knowing something without knowing why?
Means aware.
How old?
Aware. Thank you guys. I don't know. Hold on. What was the question?
How old were you? Yeah.
This makes me so uncomfortable because, guys, I don't talk about this really. Only like I think Crow knew. Some people knew, but it's not like a big thing because, yeah. I don't even know. I would say really only in the past 1 or 2 years I realized it was maybe something more than just like demons, or spiritual warfare, basically, and that's how I was brought up, being taught that it was just spiritual warfare. So I don't know. I definitely I can feel people all the time. Like feel people. That sounds wrong. Like energy off of people, like empath-ish stuff. As I'm investigating more too, I think I'm picking up on more things with people. I don't know if I've always just had this.
Well, I'll say one thing real quick. When she first started investigating, and she was in the Screaming Tunnels, and she was telling me about like when she was editing the video, and like she experienced, where she saw like a frightening guy's face, and it actually shook her at the moment and was really scary, and she felt like it was more than just like. She didn't see it like physically, but it was in her mind and the way she was describing, but she didn't want to put it in her video because she's like, well, I don't want to look like one of those people like trying to say, oh, I had a psychic vision, or because she didn't know what it was. But from when she told me though, I thought instantly like, well, something definitely, you saw something in your mind's eye or whatever you want to call it. But that's when I knew she has something special going on as well.
Oh, thanks, Crow. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know. I feel like I'm jumbly when I'm talking about this because I'm just starting to come to be more comfortable with it because I'm still not 100%. Not that I'm like scared of it. It's talking about it too out loud because people say like you're crazy or like people, you know what I mean? And growing up in the church, like everything was like, that's why I think I blocked it for so long is because, you know what I mean? Because of what the world thinks of it. So, but
right.
Laurel's asking you, Kassy, how do you exercise or nurture your gifts or your sensitivities?
I don't really do anything. Just investigate. I think as I'm investigating, I think I'm tapping into it a little bit more. And if that's helping, I guess that would be probably what I'm doing. And I'm trusting my gut more too, or my feelings about things, or if I see something like in my mind's eye, I don't know. Like I know people just say like go with your gut feeling. So that's kind of what I've been doing more. And I'm going to try in my investigations. I'm going to talk out loud more about things I'm seeing or feeling because, well, you guys just have to trust what I'm seeing or feeling. But at least from my perspective. So
there's a question for you, Joe.
Okay.
Joe, do you use a digital recorder when you do the Estes method?
I'll answer that in a second, Kassy. Just work on it. Just work on it. And keep yourself protected.
Mm-hmm.
I just had to get that out there. So I don't do that method very often, to be honest. But from this point on, when we do that, I will be plugging in the little recorder into my digital recorder and then out to some headphones. And I don't know, we'll see if what somebody says that they're hearing is actually coming through. It's when you watch other YouTubers do that, they don't have their digital recorders hooked up to it. You can only take their word for it. And let's be honest here. Look at the entertainment that's out there in the realm of paranormal on YouTube. Are they actually really hearing something, or is it just something that's sort of planned out and well edited to make it seem like communication is going on?
And well, to be honest, from my perspective with that, since you pointed it out, I didn't really think about it before, but since you pointed out the fact that you can record it, in some instances, maybe it's just like no one thinks about it, but certainly it would be good evidence if you tape it and then what you get on the recorder corresponds with what we've filmed and here. I mean, that would be really good evidence, proof.
Right. And that was something that Crow had mentioned to me a while back, was how come they don't do that? How come nobody's doing that? And that's a good question. And I'm like, I'll start doing it. I mean,
well, maybe I can do it when I've got all this little bits and bits of equipment, and I've not used any of it. Maybe I should get a little cord and whatever, and Kassy and Jason can let me do one of those things, and we can record it. Because that's the other thing too. I think I've mentioned. Actually, I'd be interested to know what Loz thinks too, only because a fellow Australian and listens the same way I do. Oftentimes I can hear one of you guys say, oh, it said its name was Mary. And with my Australian accent, I haven't heard that. I've heard something completely different because of my accent. So, and I never really thought I had a hearing impairment when it came to listening to Americans, because I've watched American TV all my life. But I think that's not what it said. It said blah, 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 So that also in taping the Estes method, that would be good to replay it and go, but see, I think it said that. Yeah, no. Yeah, whatever. So I don't know if anyone else has that issue with their accent, and when they hear words spoken, whether or not they hear something completely different. Anyway, that's just what I thought I'd say. What's Blake say? Blake, I'm having a hard time with the SB7 as I age. There's a significant factual change in hearing between young and older investigators. It's better to be clear as a bell, whereas young ears have a broader range. Oh, thanks, Blake. Well, you old fart. I might be getting old too, but my hearing's still pretty good.
My problem is at my age and having to hear that, it's like I almost know what it's like from a parent to have to hear like the music that I listen to. That sounds awful. Oh my Lord, you can't understand a word they're saying. Whereas, I'm like, I can understand everything. That's kind of how it is with this. I'm getting older. I'm like, that sounds awful. How can anyone get anything out of this? You can't understand it.
Laurel said this question's for all of you. Do you think that an investigator's expectation is so intense that it prompts response?
I like that question because we can come at it in different angles. We can come at it as a psychological angle or a spiritual type of angle. I think, I love the question, and it's somewhat of a complicated question too. So I think a lot of times when we go in to investigate, expectations are too high and everybody's just too hyped, and they can create kind of like their own paranormal activity. It's not necessarily actual paranormal activity, but the slightest sound, something settling, whatever. Oh my God, that's a ghost. That's a ghost. I think, like for me personally, when I go into a location, it's not haunted. That sounds horrible, right? If I've never been to this location, I come at it as it's not haunted. I don't want to set the bar. You set that bar, you're going to be disappointed, or you're going to get a lot of false positives. There are people, though, who go into investigations, and for whatever reason, they get a lot of not a lot, but they get quite a bit of activity or capture quite a bit of EVPs, and that may have more to do with them themselves and sort of like being that beacon, so to speak, that spirits just like drawn to, or we're just nuts.
maybe a mix of everything. Black Cat Paranormal says my son is he's on the spectrum. It's okay. Welcome to the family. We've all got a few. He's
too.
very sensitive to things unseen. They say spectrum kids can hear what we can't because of their RSP, because their RSP is left brain. And then she's asking for our thoughts on that one. Ooh.
I don't know who wants to speak first.
I mean, for me, like I have 2 kids on the spectrum. As she knows, the Black Cat knows that. I know that my oldest, she like, for example, I'll use it as an example. So it could just been because she's in the room next to our room. But when the ghost guy showed up in our room, I don't know if I think I've told this story out loud, but where he showed up, and I swore, and my husband, like Ron was in the, like, freaked him out because I swore, whatever. So Elida said that because I feel like I was being watched that night. And then when I went to bed, I said, leave me alone. I want to sleep. And then when I think Ron like opened the door, woke me up. So I was in that like half state, and I saw the shadow guy in the corner of my room. And so it was all that. But my daughter, who's on the spectrum, she said that she was feeling like she was being watched that night. And then it turned out that she had woken up and then heard me swear. So she was like aware of the whole situation. And I'm like, you're not just saying this, right? Because like, this happened to me, but she felt it too. So I don't know. I don't know if just them being kids too can make them more sensitive. Like, I don't know, but that's just my take on it.
My son, he's also on spectrum as well. I do want to say that children who are who are in spectrum, however you want to call it, special needs kid. I love those kids. They are so freaking smart. They are so smart and so far more aware than we are. I love that. I think that not all, but a lot of children who are on spectrum are very, very prone to spirits, I guess we could say. Something about them draws that energy or spirits, whatever you want to call them, to them. And you got to be careful with that. I don't know what it is about children who are on spectrum, but they're just so sensitive to it. And it can be also scary too, because something can be drawn to them that we don't want drawn to them. I would love to see more research and study done on that. Right now, it's just all theories and speculation. But a friend of mine, child on spectrum, like her hearing, man, is unbelievable. But she'll say all the time, "Oh, I hear people talking," and we're like, ghosts? We don't, we don't know. My son, very sensitive to sound, very sensitive to other things as well. So, I don't know, but I just know that children, especially children, those who fall in the spectrum, they're just awesome.
Yeah, and I'm like Kassy. I've got 2 children on the spectrum as well. I still tend to use the old-fashioned term for my eldest, Asperger's, but everyone's on the spectrum now. But yeah, very sensitive is a good word. Very sensitive. I wouldn't say so much to spirit or anything like that. At least not that she's told me. So we'll find out. But just their views on things are a lot different to ours. But she's awfully open to that sort of thing. And the noise, which is a very common thing with children on the spectrum. The loud noise has to be blocked out. But I'll keep my mind open on that because one of my youngest has just been diagnosed. So it'd be interesting to see her thoughts. But it was a good question. And yes, children on the spectrum, any child with a disability, you just want to kiss them Oh, that sounds. Well, you know what I mean. You just want to.
Yeah.
They're just gorgeous. They're just gorgeous.
Yeah.
They're so honest. That's a good thing usually too. Just don't care.
Yeah, they're honest. I love that they're honest, but sometimes it's a little inconvenient.
Yes. Sometimes it is. Sheldust asked a question, which might be down your alley a little bit, Joe. Given what the experiment was, I do recall that there's been a few experiments, but basically putting someone in a situation where there is no ghost, there is no spirit, it's just a test, it's just like an experiment to see if they're fed all the information, will they react in a way that information is true. And look, to be quite honest, some people can. You give people a load of shit and say this is what happened, their brain will work over time and make it like it could be. But thoughts, Joe? Because, like I said, a bit more down your alley.
That was an experiment done, I think, in the 70s. Psychological experiment.
I can't remember, but I think it was with kids too, or young kids. Can't remember.
I kind of done something like that, and I will do that from time to time to people who I never really investigate with, just to see what happens. I was helping a friend of mine with his team. They were new, and we were in a hallway. It was dark, and I was like, "Did you guys see that?" And they're looking. You see that shadow? It just moved. Do you guys see that? There's nothing down there. Every single one of them agreed. Oh my God, they're getting scared. They see it. After a couple minutes, I'm like, you know what I just did to you guys? There is nothing down there. I made that up. Now, I'm sure a couple people, their brain started to kick in and started thinking they were seeing something, and they may have been genuinely scared. But from the most part, they didn't see anything. They were just in agreement. And they, claiming that they were seeing what I was seeing. I tend to do that to people from time to time. So,
I think it's certainly interesting because that's one of the reasons. I'm pretty sure Kassy's the same, and I'm positive Jason is too. But you get told stories about places. I know I don't go with the stories. I'll listen, but I sort of think, where's the proof on that one? So I would much rather determine through what I see, hear, or feel as to what, So Joe, you could say to me, "Oh, Karen, there was a witch," that like what you got told about the Harrisville house. There's a witch and she used to live in this house, and over in that corner there is where the cauldron was, where she boiled up children after she fed them full of gingerbread. And I'd go, proof, historical fact. Like, how do you get that? So is Ron over in the corner watching you, Kassy?
No, he just walked by.
Now the lights on.
Is he pouting? No, I'm kidding.
Here or something's happening. He's laying on the bed.
So
sorry,
I know, and I know this would happen. If I was to buy a place and it's not haunted, but I told people it was haunted, and I made up these stories, I guarantee you, people are going to come away going, "We captured, this. This was the story we were told, and we actually captured something that had to do with this." I guarantee you it will happen. We see that happening all the time. I always go back to, I know some of you guys are probably sick and tired of hearing this from me, but I always go back to the Chastain house. There was a witch that lived there. It was an orphanage, and the children were treated horribly. Come to find out, none of that was true. But all of these investigators that were going there, that's the kind of evidence that they were getting. And it wasn't evidence anyways, but I'm like, wow. And again, it comes back to somebody who mentioned the power of suggestion. And in the future, I'll go as far as just to say this without giving anything away. That will be tested.
Another thing too, sorry.
No, go.
No, just for me though, I kind of go into locations semi-blind into the actual history, just because, or it's like if I do research it, a lot of times I can't even remember the history of the location because my short-term memory. So usually I have to like rely on Reese or whoever like trust them when they kind of know it. But I like going mostly blind because I don't really. Like I like kind of like just like define information. Like I mean, the Condowood Mansion, like we just knew what the tour guide told us, and that location wasn't known to be haunted. Obviously, it had they did ghost walk tours, and that's really all they did. And then they had like a team, like the resident team that kind of like from the area that would go and like lead those ghost walk tours. Or would investigate on their own. So like it was very not a well-known location. So I couldn't find any information on like the ghost of the location, right? So I kind of liked that because I kind of went in and we got a feel, and I don't want to give it away because in part 4 you kind of get our feelings at the end, kind of wrap it all up, how we felt there. So, but I think I like going half blind into a location.
Yeah.
But even when we were at like Washoe and Mackie, I still couldn't remember the proper history of the location. So
and there's so many different stories. Yeah.
If I go to a location and I know I'll be back to that location, I'm not going to do any research on it. I'm going to find out what I capture, and then I'll do the research on it and see if there's some sort of connection. And if I go back, now I have some information that I can use when I go and investigate. So, yeah, I think that's the best way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Blake just happened to mention there the Truckee River Murder House, which is just an old house. Probably that's all it is.
Yeah, there's nothing to it.
Yeah, there's nothing there, unfortunately, but so be it. Now I saw, where was that question? Raquel had a question. If enough people believe and keep putting energy into something, can it manifest like a poltergeist?
That's Kassy, do you want to throw in on this one?
So I think, because isn't there a theory, because I don't really know a heck of a lot on it, but like there's a theory about like it's actually people's energy causing it to be a poltergeist.
Yeah. So, and they say for whatever reason, sometimes the poltergeist activity is comes about because of a female and generally teenage, coming of age type female age group. So do you know anything about that, Mr. Crow?
I would just say the mind is a very powerful thing, and I wouldn't doubt it that could happen, but I've never seen it happen before. But I mean, the power of prayer, I guess, could be one thing, but you can't prove that. But I'd love to see it. If it can be done, I'd love to see it.
Now, I've read a lot of stuff from different investigators, and I have, and I believe Matt has as well. I'm not 100% sure, but we have to wonder sometimes if certain people that we investigate, if they are actually the cause for some of the activity. I investigated with a female, and I'm like, this isn't normal to this location. It has to this has to be something to do with this individual. I mean, I can't prove it. I'm not going to use the person as a guinea pig, but I do believe that there is something to it. Just real quickly, there was a story that some paranormal investigators had talked about, saying that they went to investigate a home because there was hauntings going on. Come to find out that it wasn't a ghost. It was the wife. Her and her husband, their marriage was just garbage. And anytime that she started to get upset with her husband, get mad at her husband, these rocks would materialize and go down the stairs. Now, you guys can believe the story or not, and it's up to you guys, but there's a lot of other stories where it centers around females' strong emotions causing weird things to happen. So, in other words, guys, women are evil, but we gotta love them. I'm kidding.
Do you know my favorite line in a movie ever? Or actually, I won't repeat it because it takes too long. It's not really a line, it's a little monologue. It was a movie with Cher and Michelle Pfeiffer and Jack Nicholson, and Jack Nicholson plays the devil.
The Witches of Eastwick.
Yeah, and he goes into the church and he gives a big spiel. Women, did he do it to us on purpose? Like, it's the way he talks about women. He goes on and the girls start to slowly destroy him. So you should look at that. Always gets me. No, women are good.
No, women are awesome. They're very, very powerful. They're very powerful beings, that's for sure. Yeah. And I do believe that women are far closer to the paranormal than us guys. I really do believe that.
Well, we can make life.
Exactly, I know. And you can make life a living hell.
So, Crow, I was just wondering, after your episode last week, did you have anybody sort of talk to you about what we were discussing? I've got a few things to actually tell you, to be honest, but in regard to aliens, I was watching, and I'll send you a link to it unless you've heard.
There was a sound. It wasn't Crow because he's muted. It didn't come from me because if it came from me, I wouldn't have been able to hear it.
I have dogs walking around.
I don't. I mean, it wasn't just for the dog. I don't know if the dog made any noise.
I don't know.
Somebody go back like 20 seconds and watch.
20 seconds. What are we looking for before? When I started to blab again. Why is it whenever I'm talking, something happens?
I'm like laughing.
Did it?
I'm not
hearing it, but I looked up and Crow, he was muted.
Yeah.
And okay. Then I'll talk. Where are we?
It was like a door squeaking, dude.
No, it sounded like some type of sound.
Oh, well, my dog walked by a cardboard box and
I might have hit the cardboard box.
Did the dog? Okay. Yeah. Did the dog hit the cardboard box?
Calm down, Joe.
I'm just asking. I just want to know. I'm curious.
I mean,
well, after the last time when when
bunker.
Taylor was on last time and her phone died and all that funny business at the end of that, who knows? It could be the aliens. It could be aliens.
All right.
Anyway, I was watching something on aliens yesterday. There's a podcast that's on and it's all different people come in and talk about stuff, so I was listening away to that, but they were talking about it'd be very interesting actually to see what happens over the next few days. This isn't a Debbie Downer, all right, but it's just the fact that if you've been watching the news, you know that the Russians forced down a US drone in the Black Sea yesterday. I'm not looking at the news because I'm a bit concerned, so I'm just going to hope it just. Hey,
they collided, right?
Well, I never trust anybody. The Americans say that the Russian jet fighters dumped fuel on the thing first and then hit it and it fell, right? But the Russians, they say no, we never went anywhere near it. It broke, it fell. I'm like, oh, for shits and giggles and for F's sake. So I'm just sort of thinking, if there's any aliens out there, could you please just go and pick up Putin and Biden and just take them out to space and let them float away? I'm like, oh my God. And I'm just thinking, when are they going to come and rescue us? They probably won't. That's, but yeah, anyway, my question, Crow, was has anyone said anything to you about your episode? Have you had any feedback at all?
Yeah, here and there. I mean, honestly, my memory's so bad. I can't remember I think I got some comments, man, but honestly, I can't remember. I haven't really talked to anybody about it. It really didn't get much attention, to be honest with you. So I think like 13 people saw it. So,
no. Thanks. Yeah, why didn't everybody watch Crow's episode?
It's
really
fine.
Good.
It was
really
great.
good.
I enjoyed it.
Crow's knowledge on aliens, like I even mentioned it in my episode, because it's like
you did.
You're very, very knowledgeable. Like I would not, you know way more than me. Especially a lot of the biblical stuff. I've never even heard of that, and I was very involved in the church. So there we go.
Well, a lot of my stuff. My problem with my stuff is that I can never remember, especially because yes, I did look into it for a long time, but my mind when I try, I can't remember crap, and then when I do remember, it's hard to. I have a hard way of explaining it back to people that sounds like where it's like coherent. So that's my problem. It's like, yeah, watch this thing, dude. You should have seen it. And it's like this thing, and it's like I screw it up every time. So, yeah, there you go. That's my life.
So yeah, here's what's going on.
That's the exact replay.
Yeah, me too, Crow. Me too.
God, love it, man. But the details and stuff, I'm just really rusty on. But yeah. But thank you.
I'd certainly, yeah. When I was listening to a podcast last night, I thought, oh, they've got something like, I can't remember. I'll see if I can remember what the actual podcast was even called, to be honest. I'll hit my homepage and see if something jumps up. But it was like, I thought, my God, they've got millions and trillions of followers. What was it called? Spaced Out Radio. That's what it's called.
And I'll say this too, man. Like for a lot of these alien communities, man, they go just like the fake community here in paranormal. They go too far. Like you go to their. Yeah. I'm in some communities on Facebook and stuff, and they think just like some paranormal teams that everything is an alien, and it's like I'm not there. As far as like the actual discussion of where they come from, that's cool. That's all kind of like hearsay what your own opinion is, but go ahead.
Oh well, they were talking about the Philadelphia
experiment.
No,
Philadelphia experiment.
No, hang on, I might get Phoenix. The Phoenix lights.
Oh, the Phoenix lights, yeah.
Yeah, they were talking about that, and that was interesting. But yeah, some of them.
The Phoenix lights thing never really got really solved, but.
They didn't really. It kind of got pushed under a little bit.
But see, I saw one thing though about that I think I really don't believe it was aliens because somebody took the actual picture of they had the lights just sitting there right for a long time, and the way they started just disappearing one by one, right? Well, somebody took the backdrop of the mountains and put it against that video, and every time a light would disappear, it was part of the mountain that it could be going behind. It could have been flares just thrown out, floating down, and they dropped out behind the mountain. But
that's what the Air Force said at the time. They said it was flares. And then I didn't know this, and I'm going to try and find out. But they were talking about it, and apparently Kurt Russell, the actor, the night that happened. So Kurt's obviously either got a pilot's license or he was just in a small plane with a pilot driving. But Kurt was with his son heading to Phoenix, I think, and saw them and reported them. So,
wow!
I'd love to talk to Kurt Russell. Full stop.
Me too, girl.
I love Kurt Russell.
Shell suggested that they saw the Phoenix lights.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Well, there you go. Yes, Shell Dust, and there was that episode I watched, which was on that channel. I think that channel, from what I could gather watching it, quite a few viewers, but it was basically the fellow hosting it. He's an old-time DJ. You can tell the way he hosts. He'd have to be my age or if not a bit older. But he was saying he'd had an experience, an actual, he'd seen them. And there was another fellow on saying that he had been taken. And then there was lots of comments, and I'm like, oh, geez. With that kind of thing, it is a bit tricky.
Yes. It makes them all look bad.
Yeah. But the same could be said with the paranormal. You have lots of people say, oh, I saw a ghost in it, and it did this and it did that. And I think, oh, geez. But yeah, sometimes the alien ones are kind of out there.
When they say, there's 7 races, there's the reptiles. I cannot stand hearing that crap. I don't even give it any. Second thought.
Sisters and
we don't even know. We don't even know what they look like.
And my favorite, the Bigfoot was an alien. Please, like spare my brain.
The one where they say, yeah. What about the one where they say, oh, then again, I don't know. Sometimes you just listen to stuff and you think, no, I think you've got a very overactive imagination. With like some of them, but other things just like, hey, what was that? What did I see there? There's no explanation for that. Again, even you could probably put aliens into the paranormal because we don't really know.
No, it is definitely paranormal, right, Joe?
Definitely, like we don't know for sure. We can't say they don't exist
because paranormal is anything that's what the word means. Yeah.
I mean, even things out there in the universe that can't be explained. They don't know for whatever it may be. They don't know, and it just kind of falls into that paranormal realm until it's figured out. I mean, once upon a time, the moon and stars and all that. I mean, that was paranormal back in the day for early man. They were like, those are gods, and then nope, those are just those are suns.
But
go ahead, Crow. Go ahead.
No, I think that all these, like when we were talking about Bigfoot, aliens, so I think like if you talk about fairies, Bigfoot, Loch Ness, all these things, I think do have an original at some point in our history. Have a nugget of truth. They, maybe there was a small, there's something that comes from something, I believe, and then the stories they grow and grow over time, but. I do I think there's like big hairy guy in the woods, Bigfoot, like a Neanderthal type guy? Yeah, probably was at one time. I think he's still hanging out. No, I do not. I do not believe Bigfoot is still here. If he is, he's got really good at hiding his own skeleton. So,
look, yeah, he has. And the other thing, I heard someone on, or was it this morning? Yesterday. Oh, Tommy had a thing yesterday, and I heard one of his people on his panel say, if someone offered me $20 million to go and catch Bigfoot and bring him in, I would. And I thought, if someone offered me $20 million, yeah, but you know what? If someone offered me $1 billion, I'd go, no, because just in case, if he really is real somewhere out there, I wouldn't want to catch him. What are we going to do? Bloody pop him on a table and cut him open and see how he ticks.
How are you going to take something that big down? How are you going to? How is anybody? Yeah, there's
not interested.
No way it's real.
Not interested. I don't want to be involved in the downfall of something that's been, if it's real, something that's been hidden for God knows how long. I don't want to be involved in its downfall and death. Thank you very much. Keep your money. Stick it up your jumper. Leave Bigfoot alone.
So, like, real quick, it's funny when people equate Bigfoot with something paranormal or alien.
Yes.
Like, when we followed the foot tracks in the snow and then they just magically disappeared. And I'm like, yeah, I'd get pretty freaking tired too, wearing some heavy ass Bigfoot feet walking on the ground. I'd get pretty tired too. And it's funny too, because the majority of the people who say they've seen Bigfoot or get them on camera or whatever, they hardly even go in the woods. But you got all these people who are in the woods just nonstop all the time, every day. They don't report anything like that. So it's like credibility. Yeah, I don't know about that. I personally don't think that it may have existed at one time. I don't think it exists now. I'm not saying like with absolute it doesn't, because you never know.
Yeah.
But we ain't never gonna.
We're going to find a skeleton somewhere at some point, people. There's going to be a skeleton somewhere.
But then it gets into like these weird conspiracy theories. But before I even I'm not going to get deep into that. But I say, that's something that I have said. We would find bones. We're constantly digging the earth up, building things and stuff like that. We haven't found anything. Oh, the government's covering it up. The government doesn't want us to know.
Oh, God,
And here's why. Because this industry's got making all this money and pumping our government and Congress people with money. It becomes this crazy conspiracy theory thing. And it's like, well, you lost me.
Yeah. What about the Loch Ness?
No. That was even proven. That that was debunked.
Well, I would say 100% on that because there's still, I don't know, man. There's still fishermen that see these really, I don't know. That's a hard one though because you can't truly search the whole sea for this creature. I do it. Well, here I'll put it this way: I do believe that in some lakes, in some places in the world, there might be a really huge type, thing in there that still was lurking around for years and was never caught or whatever. But you think by some point that we'd catch that or the bones or I don't know something that big.
Or it could just been like a dinosaur. I don't know.
It could have been anything, but it could have. Oh, definitely the photos are fake. And the guys who make those old photos, they're fake. That's been proven to be the case. But so far as people saying they see things, again, I wish I could remember where I saw it. But there's a particular. It was something. What was it? There was an animal that lives in the ocean that moves a certain way, or it's a fish. It's something. But when you see it move, it looks uncannily like what they reckon Lockie looks like. Nessie, I mean.
Nessie.
Nessie. Lockie. Loch Ness. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe one day I'll go to Scotland and I'll sit there and go, Nessie! But I don't know. I don't know. But there's a lot of things like that are probably just mythical as well. Stories possibly to keep Scottish people out of Loch Ness, trying to stop them from doing fishing. I don't know. Fairies are real though, aren't they, Tanya?
I mean, look, the world's full of liars. Some lie far worse than others. And if anybody ever says, I don't lie, and I'm like, you got children, right?
Yeah, you lie all the time. Of course you can have that.
Holidays.
Tomorrow.
Let's think about losing the tooth. Let's think, those, that's just innocent, playful stuff. Well, that still qualifies as a lie. Let's be honest here. I think a lot of it, though, may come from, like, you guys see the movie The Village?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, so here's this. I'm going to spoil the movie. It's been out. If you guys haven't seen it already, then you deserve to have it spoiled. So, it wasn't that great anyways. I had it figured out. Even in the commercials, I was like, I know what's going on. So you have these group of people basically out in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by woods, and they make up this fake creature to keep the kids and others from going out and finding out the modern world. Mm-hmm. And I think, and it was to protect. It was just to protect. And I think a lot of these stories was just that. People would tell these stories, watch out for the werewolf, don't wander out too far, the werewolf, or some other mythical creature. And, it's to keep the kids away. And that story gets handed down. And, here we are today, with these different mythical like creatures. But I honestly think that's kind of where that stuff, most of it came from.
Somebody mentioned Art Bell earlier. Did you guys listen to Art Bell? Came on like a midnight, man, on the local radio station, and they'd always have like each night would have like a person on, like an author about aliens. They have some crazy like cat psychics and vampires and stuff. But I used to get stoned and just sit there and listen to that crap all night, man, because it was the only thing on. You're up late. But some nights they have
That was a long time ago, wasn't it, Crow? Because it sounds vaguely familiar to me.
Yeah, well, after Art Bell, he retired. Was it Norrie? Something George Norrie took over for him, and it still goes on to this day. I mean, it still plays. But some nights, man, it's like I'll be all ready to hear it, and it's just like something really stupid. Like, let's talk about leprechauns all night. But then sometimes they'll have like some like cool UFO stuff, but it's a place to go to like just kind of let your mind, even if it's something stupid I don't really agree with, it's kind of cool to let your mind wander. And sometimes you're like, oh, you know what? I never thought about that way before. So I try to stay, even if it's something I don't agree with, I try to stay open-minded because you never know what you're going to learn.
Am I thinking of a movie, or am I thinking of him that he had someone on and something weird happened?
The
Was
phone
it his
call.
show?
The phone call.
The phone call. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a guy who claimed that he worked for the government or something like that, Area 51 or something, and he started making these wild claims about UFOs and stuff like that. And then like the call dropped out of nowhere. The call dropped. I had to wonder if that was fake or what the deal was. Now there was a video game that was made, and they actually put that clip of Art Bell and that phone call in the video game. And as this guy's freaking out and talking about it, this alien invasion actually happens in the video game. It's pretty wild. Let me tell you
about that night though, because night that happened. After the call comes in, it gets dropped, and then the power drops out supposedly, or their signal drops out at the radio station. After this, y'all can listen. We'll post it somewhere on Facebook, on the group, whatever. But the call itself, even today, it still holds up as very, very creepy because the person calling in acts like he has no time to tell this.
Nervous.
And he's like, it's these people. They're not aliens. They're interdimensional beings, and he's like crying.
Yeah.
And it's like very hair raising. Then the call gets dropped. He goes off air for like 5 minutes, comes back. He's like, whoa, what the hell? And to them, it was like, oh, the government shut us down. And then, long story short, though, after this happened, because when you hear it, you really believe this fucking guy. It's that believable. But then they supposedly find the guy later on, and they have him on the show or he gets interviewed. And to me, it just doesn't sound like the same guy. But who knows? It could have been time lapse. I'm not sure. But the call itself is definitely worth a gander.
Oh, yeah, because I remember that. And that's why I was wondering if it was him, because I do recall that it was someone who was on late at night and people would call in. So, yes.
Joe, it was pretty believable, right? I mean, whoever it was did a damn good job acting.
Yeah, it really, really did. And I could find it. You could, honestly, you could play. I mean, they're not going to like do anything in your channel. But no, it was pretty wild. And
yeah,
I'm just like, is that real though? Like,
right.
Everything about it was just kind of weird and very convenient, it seemed like.
Well, that's the thing. You just never know, do you? But,
never know.
Kassy, you never know. You never know. Hey, Kassy, where you are, the night skies are pretty clear. Do you ever see anything? Have you ever seen anything or thought you saw anything?
No. No, I've never. No.
Yeah.
I think we have too much. Like where I am, there's too much light pollution. Even we're in the country, we still have you can still see the lights. So like up north, I've been up 8 hours up north. That's way better, but I have not seen anything. A lot of satellites or whatever, or airplane lights. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tanya. Look at what she wrote. Now no one will donate. Thank you, Tanya. Yeah, Mike.
I just saw that.
Fire in the Sky is a good movie. He's actually.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Again, I go back to Joe Rogan, but geez, he has some good guests on his show. But he talks to him. What's his name? Starts with a T.
Travis Walton. Travis Walton.
Yeah,
Travis Walton. Yeah. Travis, he does a whole episode with Travis Walton and they discuss it. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. People try to say that Travis is lying and so on and so forth.
But he passed the lie detector test.
Everybody did.
Yeah. And for somebody that it basically ruined his life. So,
yeah, it did.
Yeah,
it did.
Yeah.
I got chills. I got chills just thinking about it because that story, man, that fucking book. Now that guy, man, that came out blew my mind, and there's a lot of details that left out of the movies as well. The movie is different than the book. The actual book is more detailed. But it's a great read. But I definitely believe him. And the people that were there, they all passed, except for the one guy had a weird, a lie detector test at first, but he was like the kind of the shady guy of the group. He was really nervous and sketched up a cop. So, but everybody passed.
Yeah, it was very. The whole thing was it was weird. Like, I mean, if they were all lying about it, then I don't know.
Right.
Well, yeah.
These are country boys. These are like good old country. They could not all pass a type of test to me. And also, there's something else. Also, he lost a shitload of weight. He was very unhealthy when they found him.
He was dehydrated. Like, he was in bad shape.
That to me was some of the best. I mean, Dan, they made a movie out of it. I mean, that's the point. But I'm just saying, like, it was a very well documented case. And hello, they're fishing for us, people.
I'm gonna have to look this up because I don't think I'm familiar with this.
Oh, Kassy, the movie, man, it still holds up. It's still creepy as fuck.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
It was a young man at the time, Travis Walton.
Mm-hmm.
He was working as a logger with some other big buffy fellas up in the mountain. They were heading home or heading back, and there was some kind of weird light off in the trees, and they pulled up. What's that? And I think Travis was the only one who got out of the car, or did they all get out of the car? I can't remember. Travis got out and he went towards the light. Well, it wasn't a light. It was a freaking, he saw what it was. He went towards the light. It was a disc-shaped thing. And next minute there was this big, I don't know, light, and he disappeared up into the ship, and all the boys in the truck went shit and took off and drove off in terror. Only to get almost halfway down the mountain maybe, and we've got to go back. Oh, Jesus, we've got to go back. And when they went back, there was nothing. Travis was gone. That was gone. And then how much time was it that passed, Crow? It was a fair while, wasn't it, before he came back?
7 days or 9 days or some shit. I can't remember. It's been so long.
Yeah. And those boys were getting interrogated for murder. The police actually thought you'd murdered this dude. Like, where is he? So it was pretty terrifying for them because they were being interrogated and held for murder. And then Travis shows up so he says he was taken by aliens, and they performed a few tests on him, and he was terrified. And he talks about it in great detail. If anyone wants to bring up the Trevor Walton, Joe Rogan interview, he's on there for about 2.5, 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
More so than the movie. The movie's good, but still there's some Hollywood interpretation in the movie. But the actual so that's what he says. All I know about, I've never seen an alien, a spaceship. I've seen shooting stars, that's about it. But I do know that when I was married to my boy's father, he was in the Air Force. And a couple of times we lived in Victoria, Australia, and the Air Force Base, a few times people were called in, and the boys have to go out on a mission because something had been seen. And I remember Michael coming home one night, and I said, "Oh, what's the go?" He goes, "Seems that there was something out at sea, and they all had to fly out and figure out what it was." So UFO, something's weird, something's happening. Who it is, where they come from, whatever, don't know. I've never seen one, but I've heard enough people talk about them to think that something's happening.
Mm-hmm. So, since we're talking about this whole UFO thing, anybody watch Skinwalker Ranch or The Secrets of the Skinwalker Ranch?
I've watched plenty on Skinwalker. Yeah,
I've watched 2 seasons.
It's pretty out there though.
The third season is out on Discovery Plus.
Okay.
I've watched them all, and I do enjoy the show, and I appreciate the fact that they have scientists that are there. But at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, here are these scientists, these skeptics, doing this, and they're so far behind the curve when it comes to stuff like that. And I'm just like, wait a minute. You brought these guys in. That's great. I appreciate that. But they're so far behind us when it comes to paranormal that it's insane. Now, I know that there are universities and stuff like that studying paranormal phenomena and such, and they're well ahead of us. But for these scientists, especially Travis, like he's supposed to specialize, I guess, in optics and such, and they capture what they thought was like some sort of like weird orb or something like that. And Travis, and this happened on land, like literally at one of the properties on Skinwalker Ranch. The way they presented it as if it come out of nowhere. Clever editing. It was a freaking spider that was blurry, and it was moving back. It was making a web. And they're like, I don't know what that is. That looks like it's 30 feet away from the camera. And I'm like, I know these guys are smarter than me, but oh my God, I feel like a freaking genius right now. I know what that is. I know how close that is. Even showing some of the footage where a UFO like straight past them underneath a helicopter. I'm like, that is either a bird or a bug. And it was really close to the camera. It's just the timing was great. And they present this as if they captured a UFO. Now, to go back to the little orby thing that they were claiming was basically like a UFO or something, they actually showed unedited footage, and it does come into the screen. It doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It comes into view. They just cut it. And I'm like, how are we supposed to take these scientists seriously now? Also, with like the History Channel and all these other shows where they're supposed to be educational, they've been busted for having fake experts on and fake scientists. So they present this guy who's supposed to be a scientist and an expert in something, and he's actually an actor, basically saying, oh, yes, this thing could very well be alive. And in fact, and then throughout this stuff. So watching stuff like that, even now, like stuff that's supposed to be educational, we can't trust any of it because they're bringing in actors acting like scientists and experts.
Yeah, it's a sad thing. We're the only experts. We're real, aren't we, Crow?
Yes.
Yeah. If you guys haven't watched The Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch, well, it is good, but it's make
good
you
for a laugh.
It'll make you want to pull your hair out as well, because a lot of the stuff too that they're experiencing does fall in the category of paranormal, and there are a lot of investigators who believe that there is some sort of correlation between paranormal activity and UFO activity. And I can understand why.
That rich guy who brought that property, I can't think of what his name is now. He's some billionaire. Does he still own it, or did he sell it off? So
Bigelow, he did sell it, and then I can't remember. Oh, geez, I don't remember the name off the top of my head. Another
Zach Bagans probably brought it.
Another billionaire bought it.
Yeah, but one would assume he saw the original guy who purchased it did so because he thought there could be something in it, and they did a whole heap of stuff back there, and nothing seemed that I can see anyway came out of it. And I'm assuming that's why the guy got rid of the property.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why he got rid of the property. I think they said why. I'm not 100%, but yeah, no, this other guy, he has it. I want them to bring in legit paranormal investigators there.
Well, I know Ghost Adventures went there and did an episode. And I remember watching that, and that made me. Oh my God! There was aliens there, Crow.
Yeah, if that was the same episode, I think they tried to get a tribe to like do some sort of thing.
It was,
but then he went ahead and he hired like a bunch of actors or something like that to do it, or something. It was something like that.
Yeah. But there you
I'm
go.
like freaking myself out.
Any other questions?
How did you almost freak yourself out, Kassy?
I was hearing movement, so I don't know if you saw me. I just grabbed my flashlight off my phone to shine it over the recorder.
I wondered what you were doing. I'm like, is she taking a selfie?
In the corner of your room?
To my left is the opening to the kitchen. I'm sure it was just my cat moving there, but I felt like there was something taller there. But
quick, do an investigation. Let's watch a live Kassy investigation. Yeah, no, actually, you don't want anything. But Kassy has seen things in her house, which is a little bit unsettling.
Well,
I think I asked you that question before, the history of the house, yeah?
And I still haven't looked into it. I really need to get to like the library. I think my assumption is the house was made by like a stonemason because the house is made out of like cement block. And it was farmland. But like I'm just assuming because of like where I am, it's like farms all around us. So
so it's probably just old Farmer Joe who used to live in the house and he's wondering where his family is. That's all it is. Farmer Joe.
It was you. Ron was him, but are you like hovering by the door? That's weird.
Ron, I'll tell you what, he's desperate to get his head on, isn't he?
You know what, but if you're there, come around the corner because don't freak me out, okay? Anyways, I don't think it's not him. I didn't think so.
Oh,
like I would have heard him walk into the kitchen.
Anton had I think I said his name right. What about crop circles? Has it been proven to be fake? Yeah, basically.
It's
a bunch of people out there doing some art.
Easily done, isn't it? Yeah, crush it down. They're good. They're clever. It looks good. Yeah. But I'd be really peed off if I was the farmer. All those crops gone to waste.
There was one video, and Joe might remember this, where back in the day, in the 90s, there was a video of a crop circle being formed. You remember that, Joe?
Yeah, they had the UFO hover over it.
Yeah. Yep. Did you ever hear anything about that? Because it's still pretty clever to this day if you watch it. It's because this is back in the 90s, and it's pretty clever for 90s technology.
So, yeah, in the 90s started the whole video effects for people to be able to have at home. It was really expensive. So a lot of people were doing some pretty cool stuff, like even in the 90s. But I don't think I think it was actually done later than that, but presented as it being done in the 90s. I'm not 100% sure, but it was looked at, and people were like, yeah, the frame rate, and these other things. These are all
yeah. I couldn't remember if that one was ever proven wrong, but it probably was. It's too good to be true.
Like going back to like the History Channel and stuff. You know how they make like people from way back in the day. They made these really weird symbols and stuff like that. And the best way to see them is up in the sky. And people are like, aliens. It had to have been aliens. Maybe this is, telling people, hey, aliens were here or are here, or these are navigational signs. Now, as it turns out, they did that to mark where water was underground.
Thank you, Daniel. If you're still in here, I haven't been looking at my phone, and I've got ear things in, so I can't hear my phone go doot, doot. But thank you for the donation. Much appreciated.
Oh, that's
the
sweet.
Pizza Fund.
Ooh, pizza sounds so good.
Oh, yeah. I had pizza the other day. And although most of the toppings were on 2 pieces of pizza, it was still good.
I broke my diet midday today.
Oh, dear. Well, how are we going, guys? We've been on for, an hour and a bit? And we've talked about mainly aliens. Mainly aliens. And Kassy's gift.
Sheldus asks, have any of you ever seen a ghost?
Kassy has.
Yes. Have you, Joe?
I have seen shadow people. I've actually captured one from hills. It is on my channel.
In a box or
in a ghost in a box? No. It was.
You said you captured one as I was playing.
I get what you're saying now. It took me a minute. Not all of us are quick in the brain, but I don't know what it was. It looks like it's walking on its own. It's a lot darker than what's surrounding it, and you can see that you can still see through it, and it walks. I think it was either in front of or behind a glow stick that somebody had inside there that it's just hanging from the ceiling. I've seen those a couple of times, and that's just weird. I remember I actually jumped out of my freaking shoes one time, and this was again at Hales. Something weird was going on.
I'm turning my light on. Sorry.
Something was going on in one of the rooms at Hales, and I went over there to check it out, and all I seen was this huge, like 8-foot tall freaking black mass thing. And I'm like 10 feet away from it, and I'm like, oh my God.
Well, I think Kassy's actually seeing something now, Joe. What's wrong, Kassy?
I just saw like movement out of the corner of my eye. I'm not usually this but anyways.
Well, we're here with you.
I'm just unnerved right now because that was like a grayness. So I just turned the light on. We're good.
Blake's got a question.
Ooh.
Let's see. What do you think will be the next phase of paranormal investigation gear that is needed and is realistically doable to create?
I love that question.
That's a Joe question. Okay,
so everybody is focused on just trying to capture. Look at me, I'm cool. Not everybody. I can't say everybody. While everyone's focused on look at me, look what I'm doing. Ooh, I'm using these apps and noisemakers and such. Everyone needs to get. It's an opinion. I'll speak for myself on this. I know some others will agree. We got to get away from that. We have to, because none of that equipment is telling us anything other than it blinks, makes sounds, or randomly pops up words. We need to come at it. In more of a psychological way. We need to test. We really need to put theories to the test. Everybody talks about these theories and all this stuff. Nobody's putting these theories to the test. Very serious theories too, and that is something that will happen. That I'll be involved in the future.
What are one of the theories, Joe? Give me an idea. Maybe something I can try without
equipment. So one of the.
You okay, Kassy?
Oh yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm just putting my foot up.
We touched on this a little bit earlier. So you go to a location, whether it's haunted or not, it doesn't matter, and you tell a story. And the story is repeated. The guide is telling the same story over and over again. But it never happened. But for some reason, it manifests into a haunting. Now, can we truly say it now becomes a haunting that it did? Or is it more of a psychological thing? And whatever it is that we're associating with this story that was told. As I said, I go back to the Chastain house. People said it was used as an orphanage. It was dedicated to be used or designated to be used as an orphanage, but it never was. But yet people claim that they're capturing children, EVPs, and children playing. But yet we know that there were children in the house when the people who had lived there were there. We know that. So are they associating these kids that they're supposedly capturing on EVP as the children from an orphanage that never existed? Is that what they're doing? Or did somebody create a situation where, as I said, you tell the story over and over again, people go in there and believing it and investigating based on that? Did they create that? Did they manifest that kind of thing? That needs to be put to the test. There's a lot of other things. I don't want to give too much away, but it is something that it is one of a couple of things that we truly want to look into.
You know what I want to do? I want, with knowing that I'll be completely protected by Kassy, who's still seeing things, I think, from Kassy and Ron and Jason, I'd like to go to one of these places that are supposed to be, haunted, and just take a little pillow, get a bit comfy, maybe even put a rug over myself. I don't care about laying on the dirty floor. You listening to this, Kassy? And I want to just sort of relax.
Ron turned off the light. So I turned back on. I'm like, jerk.
Ron. Yeah. I'll tell you what. Now I know what Ron's like when he can't get his head on the live. This is just a live for the guests of my 5 haunting questions. That's why, Ron. So stop being silly. I love you. But yeah, I'd like to sort of, because I had an experience once where I know I was awake. But I was in bed, and hang on. Well, I'll tell that story first as quick as I can. So a family member took themselves off the planet by hanging. And on the day or the morning of, so 6 a.m. in the morning, on the morning of, we got notification and we drove very, very quickly and got to the home of the family member. That evening, big talks about what had happened, etc. I went to bed and I had my little son, Alex, and I was pregnant with my son, Stephen. I went to bed, popped Alex in his little travel cot. I was in bed next to my husband. I tucked myself up and I was thinking about it all. I hadn't quite gone to sleep yet, but then I closed my eyes and then I thought, oh, what's Alex doing? And I looked over towards his little travel cot, but I got this awful, uneasy feeling and like someone was looking at me. And I diverted my eyes up and I saw this person who had taken themselves out of our current universe, and he yelled at me and I screamed and I rolled over and wake up, Michael. And it was like mental, but I still could see that. So I would like to try to see if in one of these haunted locations, if I get on the verge of sleep, or because you so often hear people say, I was in bed and woke up. I was about to go off to sleep and this happened. Now, I swear I was awake when that happened. I wasn't asleep. I hadn't fallen asleep. I was still thinking about everything that had happened that day, and that happened. But part of me sort of thinks, had I fallen asleep and it was just a dream? But it was bloody real. And I'd like to try it in one of these haunted locations. Just me, just lay down, get comfortable, and whatever, and Kassy and Jason and Ron can do whatever, but set up a couple of cameras and just see if something like that happens. Like, it'd be interesting to see if that could, what actually happens when someone says, I was asleep and then I heard such and such. Like, did we? Or was it our brain? I don't know. Like, Crow told a similar story on the episode where he swears he was awake and that feeling came over him, like there was something not right over top of him. Oh, and just a FYI, I did ask what that person was wearing when they did what they did, because normally they were a working person, so they'd be up in their overalls and off to go to work. I saw the person in striped pajamas, and when I asked that morning, what was he dressed for work? Was that where he was off to? No, he was still wearing his pajamas. I said, oh, what did they look like? And I got looked at as if I was asking a stupid question. And she said, he's just his pajamas, the blue stripy ones. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Very creepy.
So, yeah. So I'd like to know if I'd like someone to do an experiment on that, just to see if when you are falling off asleep, like cameras and everything, I don't know, but it'd have to be in a place that's, yeah. But is it when you sort of can move? Like I moved. I wasn't laying there like, oh.
It may seem like you're moving. Did you feel heavy?
No.
So
no, I was awake. I was about to get out of bed because I thought it was Alex standing up in his little travel cot. I thought, oh, I'm going to have to get out of bed. And I looked over, and then I've looked up. I got the fright. I screamed and I rolled straight over and got yelled at by my husband. And I was out of bed, quick sticks. Like it was all in a matter of just a few. But the interesting thing is the person who'd slept in that bed the night before me was this person's wife, who wouldn't talk to him when he wanted to be spoken to. Like I've had enough. I don't want to talk to you anymore. And she went in the spare room. And I sort of thought, I wonder if that was him coming back saying, you should have spoken to me. And maybe he didn't realize it was me, because I'm sure he wouldn't yell at me. But yeah, I don't know. Well, Crow knows what sleep paralysis is like, and he said his experience wasn't like that.
I have a very, very bad case of sleep paralysis. It happens almost every day for me, and I know it's happening. I am very well aware of what is going on, and usually I can snap myself out of it because I know what's going on. And other times I can't, but I eventually just go sleepy sleep. So the first time it happened to me was terrifying. I was a teenager, and I was in a truck driving somewhere with somebody. I was in the passenger seat, and it all seemed real to me. And all of a sudden, these demonic freaking hands come ripping out of the seat, trying to pull me into the seat, dragging me to hell. I could not for the life of me wake up. I did wake up, and when I did, I was like, I need to go to church. I was freaked out by it. And then,
were you actually in someone's truck and fell asleep in the truck, or you were home in bed?
I was home in bed.
Oh, so it was a dream, and then you gotcha.
So that was the first time, and it hadn't happened since. I mean, it has. There was a long period of time where it did not happen again. Then what would happen was when it would kick in again, as I got older, laying in bed, all of a sudden I'm pinned down. There's this big black figure thing standing over me, just pinning me down. And I was terrified. But I was in the state of awake and asleep. So basically what's happening is your body sends out chemicals to keep you from sleepwalking when you're sleeping. What's happening is somebody waking up, but their body is still paralyzed from the signals from the brain. So when that happens, you have that dream where you can't move, and it's worst case scenario kind of thing. God, this demon thing is pinning me down and I can't move. So that would happen. Now this is funny. It happened to me one time. My daughter was really little. We were in bed. We were sleeping. I had dreamt that I was abducted by a freaking UFO. My wife at the time and daughter, they were half-breeds. They were alien human breed. And I'm locked into this chair, and they got this long needle, these aliens, and they were talking to me, but they weren't speaking. It was telepathically. Now, this is a dream. And they take the needle, and they show me the needle, what are you doing with that? I won't say exactly what they were doing with that.
You're abducted, Joe.
They were just oh, we need something. And in 2 years, you're going to have a son. I swear to God, 2 years later, my son was born.
You were abducted.
But I woke up out of that. I was confused. I looked over at my wife at the time, and my daughter, she was sleeping in our room because the place was kind of haunted and some really weird things were happening. Mostly with my daughter. And I just looked at them. I'm like, holy shit. And then I realized what had happened. But the last time something like scary sleep paralysis happened, that fear did kick in, and I'm like, nope, I'm in sleep paralysis. I know what's going on. And in comes this big black shadow thing. I'm like, you want to throw down, motherfucker? Let's throw down, like in my sleep paralysis state. So when I got up out of bed, but I really didn't get up out of bed, I felt very heavy. Like I could barely walk, I could barely move. I'm like, let's go, let's throw down. And it went away. I still have a couple little weird things here and there that happen in my sleep paralysis, but I know what's going on. I'm well aware of it. And I know too, people, they'll say, oh, I was laying in bed and just about to fall asleep. Either they hear a boom sound or they hear somebody calling their name. There's something called boom syndrome where you're just laying there and all of a sudden you hear what could sound like a shotgun or somebody calling your name. Yeah, that's boom syndrome. I never knew what that was. I talked to my doctor about it. I'm like, oh yeah, I know what that is. And then he printed out paper saying what boom syndrome was. I'm like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool, I guess. At least I'm not crazy.
You know what I hate? When you're falling asleep and you're nearly boob syndrome. Daniel, I thought you were going to bed. When you're almost off to sleep and you get that horrible feeling like you're falling and then you jump, like that horrible jump. Oh, I hate that. I don't know what that is, but
or your leg kicked for no reason, or your body hurts for no reason.
Look, there's so many things that can happen to us when we're asleep or on the verge of, and that's why I thought that like you say, Joe, I don't know if I really saw my deceased relative. Felt like I did. Odd that he was wearing what he was. I didn't know what he was wearing, so I don't know. But it always seems to me when people say they see something, oh, I definitely saw it. I was just about to go to sleep, or I was woken up by a noise and saw. Even God forbid we mention his name, but Zach. I was nearly going to say Efron. Wow. Zach Bagans, who said that his first experience was sleeping in a place he lived in and waking up and seeing a lady at the end of his bed.
It was in Michigan, Southeast Michigan. I've investigated that apartment. I had.
Did you find any lady that drowned in the bathtub?
I didn't.
I think it was Stuart.
I didn't look up that part. It may have happened, but I investigated, and honestly, I investigated a few times and nothing. I had friends who lived there, and they're like, "Oh, you know that guy, on TV? Yeah, he lived in this apartment," and he did. He did live in that apartment, and I investigated it, like you said. And I'm not saying it's not haunted, but whatever he claims if he did experience something, I mean, it put him on the path where I guess he should have went. But also, real quick too, I'm not saying that you had sleep paralysis, because it is believed too that when you're sleeping, you're at your most vulnerable for some sort of like psychic attack or something like that. And that's a lot of times how like human spirits and inhuman spirits will come to you or try to contact you. And Mike O says, when he has sleep paralysis, he gets scratches on his chest. Yes, there are times when I have had sleep paralysis and I've had bruises and I've had scratches. I did a sleep study on that because they found out that I did have sleep paralysis. So they wanted to look into that. So they hooked me up to all the stuff and did a study on it. And yeah, I've woken up and I've had scratches on my body. And the doctor checked it all out. And he's like, the mind's powerful. He's like, it is that can happen.
Would you say it's you scratching yourself though? Has to be.
No, because they watch you on camera, which is pretty creepy.
Oh.
Yeah, when they do a sleep study, they do watch you on the camera. They do monitor you. So yeah, I didn't scratch myself or anything like that. But the doctor said, yeah, that does happen. He said a lot of people will get these scratches. They don't even know where they come from. But yeah, your body can produce those kind of things. So I don't know. But learning about those things and knowing what I know, it really is also helpful within the paranormal.
Well, I wonder from Crow's perspective, because Crow debunks. So I don't know, Crow, if someone gave you a video and said, here, Crow, this is me, I was asleep, I swear I saw something, I'm assuming you could debunk anything like that if you just see someone sit up because they got a fright and they say there's something there and there's not. I mean, I don't know.
That'd be way above my pay grade. I'm looking for string. And,
exactly.
That's a personal experience. And, it's just like something kind of, I remember as you were talking, there was a mythical creature that, and you guys might have heard this in the chat as well. And I always thought this was kind of interesting. A mythical creature that feeds off of people's dreams. That it would actually, like, it uses our dreams to feed itself. It feeds off our dreams. And it's like, I don't know. It's a mythical creature, supposedly. Like I said, I don't know if everything at one point.
It's a female mythical creature. It's there is, and I just don't think what it's called.
Yeah, I don't think he's talking about a succubus or an Erebus. I think that's
no
syndrome.
It's a Greek. I'll look it up, Crow.
Right. I guess what I'm saying is the universe is a very mysterious place, and we don't know what the hell, like 0.001% of what's going on our planet. Sometimes I wonder, like, the things like Joe touched on. When you're falling asleep, you're most vulnerable. What if just scientifically, it's supposedly sleep paralysis, but what if it is us getting attacked by whatever we're talking to, and we're hearing voices on the recorders and stuff? What if it is us being attacked by things around us that we can't see? What if there's living beings around us that we're not aware of? Not just aliens from other planets. I'm talking about beings that are literally alive, but we can't see because we just don't know how to see them or are able to. And they feed off of our emotions, our dreams, and maybe attack us when we go to sleep.
Then that's a possibility.
Yes.
There you go. That's the one I was thinking of. The Japanese thing. That's the one I was thinking of.
What's it called? I was seeing.
Baku.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, I couldn't remember the freaking name of it, but it is interesting to think about that, though, because it's like when I start reading these weird things, these folklore, it's like, man, that's true. We don't know what the hell's even around us. And you hear these things and stuff talking on tapes that aren't supposed to be there. Like, here's a girl's voice in a room, and there was no girl's voice. There was no girls in the house at the time. Who is that? And if that recording is there, right? How do we know that voice the person who's talking can't touch us in some way or affect us, and which is what we call ghosts, I guess. I'm just saying, like, it's very interesting that we don't really know what the possibilities are of stuff that's happening on.
I've only told a few people this, but I haven't told you guys. After my son died, I was, as you can imagine, devastated, all that sort of thing. And one night I was absolutely beside myself, crying myself to sleep. And I said, I just wanted one more hug. I just wanted you to hold my hand one more time. Anyway, I fell asleep. And I woke up. I started to wake up. I dreamt. It was a dream. I dreamt he was squeezing my hand, and I could see his hand in mine. And I didn't want to let go. But I started to wake up. And I could feel myself starting to wake up. And my dumb partner at the time was the one who had my hand and was squeezing it, right? And I screamed at him and I hit him. And I said, it was you. It wasn't Stephen. He never held my hand and did that sort of thing when we slept. He was like never. And what you just said, Crow, I wonder if sometimes, like you say, a spirit could do something like that. Like, say, Stephen was thinking, oh, Mum just wants me to give her one more hug or something. I'll do it while she's sleeping. So they use someone else. Does that make sense?
Right.
You
Oh,
know
yeah,
what I'm trying to
definitely.
say?
And
So it's all interesting.
And if you believe that, I mean, if you do believe that, you know, in some way, shape, or form, that was him, that's awesome.
I hope it was.
Don't hope.
Anyway.
Just believe.
But, well, it made me feel better. It made me feel better. But it is interesting. I don't think any of us will ever truly know anything until we go. But it fascinates me. And I've had this conversation with Jason, and I think Kassy was there when I talked to Jason about it. As a mother, and this is not taking anything away from people being a dad, okay? Because without your seed, there would be no baby. But as a mother, when we carry a baby for such a long time, and there are some women out there who are not all that maternal, they have babies and they can, but the majority of women, we carry this little thing in our tum-tum. We make it, it comes out, and we're attached by a cord. They're attached to it like that. It's attached to us. It comes from us, and there's a bond. So what I kind of think from my experience when my son died, the night that he died, and I didn't know he had died, but I felt what he probably felt at the time he did die, which was a great sense of, oh my God, no tomorrow. And it was kind of like, and even since he's gone, it's still like something is not quite right. Something has been ripped away. There's like an attachment. Something's not, it's kind of like I've lost a piece of me, but on a more physical level. I know that I don't know if there's anyone out there who's lost a child. Maybe you know what I'm trying to say, but it's a female thing in a way, because I think it's more. So I think the point I'm trying to make is that, is there some kind of tether between this world and the other world, like the umbilical cord? Like is that what happens? So he's been ripped away from this world, and there's still that attachment. So maybe there's still some kind of attachment on a different plane, that yes, they leave this world in the physical, but they're still here in the I don't know. Geez, I'm getting deep now, and I.
No, and you know what? I love that you're talking about this, because there are theories. But go ahead. Unless you're done. So
I'm done.
This mostly pertains to the ITC world, but it is believed that when we die, all of us kind of go into a pool, right? And everyone also is kind of souls, kind of combined into like one
energy,
just like sort of. And that's one of the reasons why I say, well, I mean, she's talking about it, and this month is hard for me because this is the month years ago too.
Sorry.
I believe, as I said, women are far more attached to, or have a better connection and stuff with the paranormal, because immediately when she becomes pregnant, she's literally attached to this little tiny human being. And when you watch, like, I know everybody gives Huff a hard time and stuff like that, whatever, but the whole thought is that we can communicate with whoever we want, because everything is attached. All the souls, energy, whatever you want to call it, it's all together in one place. So then they can communicate with one another. So let's say, I want to talk, just an example, exaggeration, really. I want to talk to Abraham Lincoln. Well, these spirits can be like, yo, tell Lincoln.
Abraham.
or whoever, this guy wants to talk. Or there are those who believe that there's I think they call it like a mechanic or something to that effect, where or operator is what they call it, where they're talking to this operator, and this operator is the only thing that can communicate through an ITC device, such as a spirit box. So it's the operator who's talking for the spirit of whoever it is that you're trying to talk to. So you bringing that up, I mean, there is that tie there. Off the top of my head, I can't remember everything about it. It's just too much to remember. But look into that kind of thing. You know, my mom, back in 2016, she died. So we're getting ready to celebrate that anniversary. But also, the same day my mother died, years back, my younger brother died. So, to a point, I can understand how you're feeling. I can't say exactly how you're feeling, but my mom, it destroyed my mom. My mom was never ever the same after he died. Like, it was just missing from her. And I do believe, because of course she was far more attached to her kids than like my dad or whatever. Like for us guys, whether they want to admit it or not, when we know we're going to be a father, cool, that's great, that's awesome, but we're not exactly like attached to the child. We don't see it. We know it's in the belly. We talk to it. We feel it kick. That's awesome. But it isn't until the child is born when it clicks. Oh my God.
What have I done?
This is mine. Holy cow. In the meantime, the mother's been attached. The mother knows the baby. And it's bizarre. So I do think there's something, there, and what you're feeling, to a point I can understand, because I watched my mom.
I know it's a hard month for you. June's always the hard month for me, because that's when he left. November's always a hard month for me, because that's his birthday. So I think anybody who's lost a child, and look, my son, I know how he struggles with the loss of his brother, and he was the eldest. So I do understand what you're going through, because he goes through it as well every day. It doesn't just at certain anniversaries make it more so. So that's if anyone was interested, I guess that's why I'm trying to do what I do with Kassy and Jason or whoever. That's why in my intro I always say, with the help of my friends. And that's why, because I want to find out what is real and what's not. And that's why I guess I get so upset when I see people fake things. Once I know that they are fakers, that's fine. I can watch it. Because I think, it's full of whatever. I can watch it. It's okay. But the people I look to more so are people like Kassy, Joe, Jason. Off the top of my head, there's still nobody else that I can think of, unless I've forgotten, but that I can really trust. Because I think, because I would dare say Joe's got a similar reason for wanting to find out as well, given what happened to his mum and brother. It would be nice to know that one day we might see him again, or it'd be nice to know where they've gone. It would just be nice to know what it is. And that's the thing. Probably never find out until we do go. But I do know from the experiences I've had, especially when my son died, there's something. Because what I felt the night he died, I didn't know he died, and I didn't get told until the morning after. But at the exact time of his death, I felt all those feelings of loss and depression and, oh my God, there's no tomorrow. And I couldn't work out why I was feeling it. Now I know. So what that is, what that was, I don't know. But that's what I'm doing this for. This is what I want to find out.
By no means do I have any kind of gifts or anything like that. And I don't like publicly really talk about this. When my brother, he got sick. My brother was severely handicapped, guys. He had fluid on the brain. They went to go drain the fluid out from his brain, and they kept hitting the needle. Like they were basically crushing his brain with a needle. Then they were supposed to do surgery, and they kept postponing it, and it just got worse and worse and worse for him. So imagine a 13-year-old baby. Can't walk, can't communicate, can't do anything. So, oh, Lord. When he had to go to the hospital, he was really sick. So he went to the hospital, and I didn't go to the hospital, and I regret not going. I don't even know why I didn't go. I was at home, and I just had the awful feeling. I'm like, something's wrong. Something is not right. And a few minutes later, my stepdad called and says, I need your granddad's number right now. So I gave him my granddad's number. An hour later, they came home with all his stuff, and I knew right then and there. And we were told, yeah, he'll be home Monday when he died, Easter Sunday. And then my mom was getting ready to go to work. My mom says, all right, well, I'm going to work. I'll see you later. Love you. All right, Mom. See you later. That night, I'm like, something isn't right here. Something's off. And it was just a horrible feeling. My stepdad calls and says, your mom just killed herself. And then said something about so the whole thing at that point in time was very confusing. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? She killed herself. What? Like she run the truck into something? What happened? I was very confused. And then he says, they're working on her now, but I was like, she's dead. And the reason why I knew she was dead is I just knew. I had that feeling. Yeah. So we went up to the hospital, and they were still working on her at the time. And then they were like, "Sorry, there's nothing we can do for her." It's very, very weird. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not like a psychic. I don't have the special abilities or anything like that. But I think some of us, we are so well connected to one another that we just
feel it.
We can feel it. Yeah, we can feel it. Sorry, I went on a tangent, but I don't know. As they say, there is no love like a mother's love.
But on a brighter note, I don't know what a brighter note is. But that's why. But the funny thing is, what we're talking about now, and even Kassy, like. Kassy and I had 6 children. Kassy's got 5. Right? Baby making machines we are, Kassy. But I'm
in the water.
Yeah. It's pretty much a given. And again, 99% of mothers would be the same. There's that odd percentage of women that should never have children. But you do kind of know, and then you kick yourself when you think, why didn't I see that that's what was wrong with my child? There's definitely something that you just feel. And I know that what we're talking about now, that's kind of what I'm trying to find out. Is it like when you, Joe, had those feelings, you just knew something was wrong and you couldn't quite put your finger on what it was? The same as the night my son died. I didn't know he had died, but I think what I felt was what he felt, if that makes sense, because I had no reason to have any of those feelings the night he died. None. But I felt no tomorrow. It was devastating. I was so deeply depressed. I just burst into tears and I didn't know why. And I took myself off to bed and woke up fine in the morning, only to find out what had happened. But I think that's why I'm doing this. And I know Kassy has different, not really different reasons for doing it, do you, Kassy? You probably want to find out if it's all real too, because you're very attune, as we know, to things. So I guess from Kassy's perspective, she'd like to find out if it's all real, because that explains what she sees and what she feels.
Mhm.
So we all have different reasons, but that's why I'm interested in the paranormal. Is that a shadow again, or is it just Ron?
Ron was going, good night.
I'll tell you what, he can't help himself, can he? Just tell him to stick his head in and go hello and goodbye.
Is he throwing hints at you, Kassy? He's like, come on to bed. Come on.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Well, I mean,
actually, what time is it there, Kassy? What time is it there?
It's 1 in the morning.
Oh gosh. Oh, but that's not as horrible as 3 in the morning.
Like real quick for me, I actually never wanted to do the paranormal. It was something I was kind of dragged into a little bit when I was very young. I had no business even doing it at the age that I was, and I wanted to know at that point in time. I wanted to know what did I experience, because what I experienced growing up wasn't that fun. So I wanted to know the answer to that. Now, fast forward to here and now, I know it's a beautiful thing, but yet it kind of sucks at the same time. I'm confident that we will never, ever, ever get the answer that we actually want until we're not here anymore, until we die. If we were to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt what we believe is true, then we lose something very important. And that is faith. There's a difference between belief and faith. If we figure it all out, guess what? There goes faith. We just believe, and we just know. And I'm only gonna come at this as sort of like the Christian point of view of things. Faith is very important. It's important in all religions. But once you just believe because the proof was shown, it takes away from. It can take away. Yeah, it can definitely take away from your belief, your faith. It can really take away from that, and then we end up ultimately completely cutting off and losing our connection to our belief, the spiritual world, or whatever it is that you want to call it. So I don't believe that we're going to absolute prove it. I think we'll come close, and I think we'll get better over time. Maybe having equipment that is a lot better at giving us some sort of information, but I don't think we'll ever find the answer. But I think at the same time, in our hearts and through what we believe, we already know the answer, and that's the answer that we want.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that one, Joe. I already know the answer. I just wish I had some way to prove I wasn't insane. Like, I just want to prove it, I just want to say to someone, see, but I know. I just know. So
I'm talking
I
too
don't
much.
know. Yeah, we're getting deep and meaningful now. Hey, Kassy, tell us a joke.
I don't know.
I put her on the spot.
I know. I can't do jokes. Get Crow to do jokes.
Right. Hey, Crow, tell us a joke, or just make.
I don't do traditional jokes. I don't know any. No, I don't have any jokes. I'm fresh out.
No, I don't know any jokes.
Oh, my kids, like especially my son Garrett. He literally is like the jokester. He's hilarious.
Well, go wake him up.
Garrett, you can come over here and tell us a joke.
So Karen wants to hear a joke.
Oh my gosh, he's hilarious. Like, he'll say like, oh my gosh, the most random things, and you're like, what? And he's so sarcastic. He's only 9. It's really funny.
I did want to say one thing, just to throw in y'all's conversation earlier about how the connection. Look at how twins are. Like the twins can feel each other when they're, if they're separated. They can feel if they're having a bad day or if they get hurt and stuff like that. They have that really. I think it's the same thing with mother and kids. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So my brother who passed away, he was a twin of my younger brother.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and when he died, my younger brother. Like, it was kind of weird with what he was going through as well.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Blake saved us with a dad joke. How come gypsies can't have babies? Because their husbands have crystal balls.
And Zeldas, okay, 1 second, 2. Zeldas, now I know who you keep sending me videos. And I'm like, who is this person? Now I know. We're good.
Oh.
I don't actually know Shelda's real name. I don't even know if they're on my Facebook or not.
Are they a boy or girl?
A male.
Okay.
There you go.
Because earlier he was talking about his wife being a teacher and having to do with children with special needs. Unless I'm wrong.
How come witches can't have babies? Because their husbands have hollow weenies.
Oh,
My goodness.
Thank you, Blake.
Too many dad jokes.
Oh. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. That's the problem.
Yeah, some of my jokes are just not appropriate for live streams.
No.
Oh. My kids,
And the only joke that... Sorry, go.
Okay.
Yep.
No, my youngest daughter, she watches Bluey. You know the cartoon Bluey? I don't know if you...
Yep.
Anyway, there's a funny joke about a toilet and a toilet brush. It's really funny, but I can't remember to tell it.
Oh, well, why'd you bring it up?
Well, Bluey's an Australian dog, so of course I know what Bluey is.
Yes.
A Bluey.
The kids love it.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice to know. I'll think about something to bring when I come over.
Oh. Oh, you don't have to bring anything.
Oh, I will. Maiko's saying, have you guys ever picked up an object, new or old, and understand it's for you, owned by someone else?
Never really thought about it, to be honest.
Never really thought about it at all. No. No.
I felt newer on it.
The only thing I do have is a necklace that belonged to my great my great-great-grandmother. Yes. And that was her mourning locket with her son who passed away in it. And I pick that up every now and then and I talk to him. But maybe I'm just nutty. I'm nutty as a fruitcake. Oh, hang on. I'm fruity as a fruitcake. I don't think there's nuts in a fruitcake, is there?
There is walnuts, actually. I actually have a fruit
cake
in my freezer. I made back in August for my parents' anniversary. I made it from scratch. It was a whole process.
I like fruitcake warm, like a pudding, because I do like fruitcake if it's really moist. Otherwise, I'm not a fan. But I like it warmed up with hot custard on it.
Oh, see, I soaked mine in, is it brandy? What did I soak it in? I soaked it in some alcohol, whatever it's supposed to be with fruitcake. It's good. I have actually...
Oh, go. Because I'll expect some of that when I...
you guys are just all over each other. Jesus Christ.
You're just jealous. Blob City's asking what a mourning locket is. It's a little locket that's glass on both sides or at least one side, but usually both sides are glass and it's either gold or silver, usually gold. And you put a photograph of the person who passed away and a lock of their hair. And you wear that. It was traditional really in the 1800s to early 1900s, and you can still get them because I got one after Stephen passed away and I wear that just about everywhere. And you just, it's just part of them with you, I suppose, if that makes sense, but that's what a mourning locket is.
Yeah. I have one of my papa's hair, but it's in a glass case, like an oval glass, and then it's like has, I think it's probably gold that rims it, but it's like see-through, so you can see his hair.
And is that like a locket? Could you wear that on a chain if you had to? Or is it just a photo?
We have it. I don't wear it. I used to wear it a lot when he first passed away. He passed away 16. Actually, weird things about him passing away. what happened.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he passed away in the hospital. We knew he had a stroke and his brain stem swelled and whatnot. But when he passed away, my mom and we were all in the hospital. And actually, this is weird because I was separate. So I have heart palpitations where my heart will start racing, like we'll skip a beat and we'll start racing, and I have to like hold my breath and it'll restart my heart back on the normal pattern. The doctors don't know what causes it. Normally it's if I bend over and stand back up. So anyways, I was in the hospital because my papa was there, but then that happened to me. So I had to I was pregnant. So they took me to the emergency department. So when my papa passed away, my mom and dad were sleeping in like the room where the families are, like and they heard a huge bang and my mom woke up, and that was the exact moment that my papa passed away. And he passed away a couple minutes after midnight on August 22nd, and my parents' anniversary was August 21st. So literally it was like he waited till it was the next day. And what's weird what happened with me is I was in the emergency department, like floors up, or just a floor up, I guess. And I feel like my heart started racing out of the blue because I was hooked up to monitors, and then we got the phone call that my papa passed. So that was weird. Also, another weird thing is that my youngest daughter, I think you guys know this, but my youngest daughter is born 7 years to the day of my papa passing away on the same day. So, anyways, weird.
No, it's not this strange things. There's only one thing that confuses me about everything. If we all go to another place, we have to be energy. It is energy, has to be energy. But what about our beautiful little doggies and pussycats and birds and kangaroos and koalas that die? They must go to a little energy heaven as well.
You know, it's weird.
It can't just be us.
Right. It's kind of weird because people, like a lot of, again, I have to say like Christian people because that's what I'm more familiar with. But anyways, a lot of them believe that animals that we love, that's it for them. There is no animal heaven or anything like that. There are those who also believe that when we die and we like go to the better place, we don't remember one another. That even though we could be married to somebody forever, then when you get to that beautiful place, you don't remember who they are. And I'm thinking that's kind of strange because when you go there, those are the people that you love and you want to see. Those are the people that you miss. I don't buy that. I think, I do think that animals, there is a place for animals as well. It would be, heaven wouldn't be heaven if you couldn't remember anyone.
No. And as a nurse, and Kassy, I'm assuming you may have seen this at some point as well, but when I've been present when many people are leaving, and the general consensus has been a few that have not done anything because they're actually so far gone. They're in a comatose state. So they've actually gone past that. But there have been many I have nursed and sat there with and held their hand who have mentioned names and been talking to someone else in the room and turned to me. So it's not like they're off with the fairies. They've turned to me and said, it's time. And I know what, and I'll say, so who is it? I've had people say my brother. I've had my own grandfather tell me his mother was there. So I don't know if Kassy's ever come across that in her work, but, they say, oh, it's just all this chemical blah, 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 and that's not, it's not real. But when you're actually there in the room with them, it feels real. And I'm a nurse. Like, these aren't my family. These are people I'm caring for and looking after. And it does give you kind of like goosebumps or There's just a different feeling. And the other thing that I've always done also is, because as a nurse, when someone passes away in the hospital, it's part of my job to prepare the body for the coroner or mortician to come and collect. So you do the right thing and you bathe them, and then you wrap them in a sheet and whatever. I talk to them. I've been there when they've passed away, and you do it really fast. Like, you don't wait an hour and go back. It's okay, they've gone. Family, and in the case where there's no family coming, this is what I mean. You'll go and you'll prep them, and if the family's coming in to see them, you just leave their face uncovered and whatever. But I talk to them the whole time, because they're gone, they're not here, but I feel like they're still here. Does that make sense? So the bodies, they're not there in the body, they're gone. That's the body's history. They're not in it. They're gone. But sometimes I feel like they're still around, so I speak out loudly to them and say, oh, gosh, sorry about that, or excuse me, I'm going to wash those bits, and, and then you wrap them up and you say, there you go, you're all nice and pretty now for when. I just talk out loud to them. But I certainly know that I have seen more times than I can count. I have seen people reach out to their loved ones or turn to me and say, so-and-so's here, my time's coming. And you sort of, because you're there, you sort of say, no, you'll be okay, it's okay. But and they go. And a lot of them, and some of them I've had to tell white lies to when I know there's family that doesn't want to come to see them, and they're holding on, and I'll say something along the lines of, so-and-so loves you, and they can't make it, they're stuck, but they love you. And then they'll go. So it's horrible that I've had to do that, but it's really weird. It's like, but that's why I think there's someone comes for you. It's somebody. It can't be everybody's imaginations.
Yeah, I'm right back. I heard a weird noise. I'm just freaking myself out.
Oh, no, there's a ghost.
So
I'm telling you now.
Karen, my stepdad's father, he had to go on dialysis. He decided he had enough. He was old anyway. He was in his 80s. And he just decided he had enough. So it's just hospice at home. And we were all in the room with him. Well, not everyone, but my stepdad, me and my stepdad and a couple of other people. And he said, look at those beautiful sunflowers. And then something about people who have passed away that were there to see him. It was really strange. Now, when they went to bury him, he was buried, and there were actually a bunch of sunflowers around where he was being buried at. It was really weird.
That's weird.
I believe it was my ex-wife who told me this. She's an RN, and she had told me that there was a woman, and apparently she wasn't a very pleasant woman. But she was dying, and she said she curled her feet, pulled her feet up, and said, my feet are on fire, don't let them take me. And then done. Right there. I was like, that's kind of creepy. Like, whoa. But $20 is at her funeral. Oh, she's in a better place. I have yet to go to a funeral where somebody said, I'm like, yeah, he's in hell. He's a real asshole. He's in hell. I've never been to a funeral where somebody has said that. It's always, they went to a better place.
Do you know what's funny? Oh, not funny, strange. When my son passed away, people would bring me flowers and cards, and I hated it. I hated it because the flowers were pretty and they were for me. The cards were nice and whatever, but I hated it because in a strange, twisted way, I felt like it was someone, it wasn't people saying, I'm so sorry for you. It was like, oh, your son's dead. Congratulations. Here's a bunch of flowers. That's how I felt. I couldn't look at the flowers. I know it's not what they meant, but that's how I felt. I didn't want anything given to me because I didn't want him to be dead. So they kept giving me things that reminded me he was dead. So I hated it. So I don't know if anyone else is like that, but I hated it. Food was a different thing. Someone brought me a casserole and said, hey, I guess you're not up to cooking. Beautiful. Didn't make me feel bad. But the flowers and the cards, I hated it. I don't know if anyone else was like that, but I hated it. So if anyone ever dies that I like, don't give me flowers and cards.
No, don't do it. You know, it's hard to give condolences to somebody because there's really nothing you can say to make that person feel better. There really isn't.
No.
There's nothing you can do. So it's like, oh, you know,
No.
I'm sorry. And just honestly, that's the best thing you can do is just, I'm sorry this happened, you know.
Yep.
And just leave it at that. There's really nothing, like you said, you can. It always, to me, felt like people were trying to make me feel better, which is kind of
they are.
In a way, they are, but at the same time, and it sounds ungrateful, but it's not helping. At the same time,
I think. Now I just sort of, when something horrible happens, I just literally say no words and give them a hug. That's it. I have no words.
Yeah, I just say
there are no words.
Yeah, I just say I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. That's
and that's a good one. But I think so everyone's different, and then anyone there's no one in the chat that's like this. I've seen some people that thrive on after the death. I've seen a few people do it. Someone dies and they're like, oh thank you.
Oh, they milk it.
Yeah, and it makes me feel sick. If you're truly grieving, you just can't do it. You can't even speak.
I do. Just to kind of lighten it up a little bit, I have a funny story.
Yeah, go for it.
That happened actually at my brother's funeral. So I had a couple of friends of mine who showed up at my brother's funeral. I'm in a different room. I don't know. It's like the coffee room or whatever you want to call it. I was in there and my buddy Dave comes in. There's like, dude, your grandfather hates me. You're and I just looked at him and I'm like, what did you say to him? Because I knew it was something he had to have said to him. So he's like, I just told your grandfather, oh, I can tell you're from New York. And my grandfather responded to him with, okay, yeah. What about it? What makes you think that? Or I can tell you're Italian, which my grandfather took as disrespectful. And he's like, that's what it was. The license plate on your car. Like, you idiot. And he's like, yeah. Then he asked me how I would like cement shoes and diving lessons. I'm like, that's my grandpa. So I go back out there and I go out to my grandfather. My grandfather's like, you know, your friend over there, he's a real smart ass. And I asked him how he would like cement shoes and diving lessons. It's just like, I'm like, sorry, Grandpa. He's an idiot. He's like, yeah, he is. And then another time, it was a family member of some kind. I don't remember how he was related, but we go to the funeral, and my stepdad and I were at his casket, you know, just looking, whatever, kind of talking. And his daughter walks up. His daughter Lisa walks up to the casket, and she's like, "Yeah, Dad was a good man." She patted his stomach, and it sounded so freaking hollow. And stepdad and I just looked at each other. It took everything we had not to laugh. We actually walked outside, out in the parking lot, far away, and just freaking laughed about it. Dunk, 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 and we would die. So we walked back in and we'd see him, and we walked back out like, oh my God. No, this is terrible. We're awful. Hey, diabolical. But anyways, yeah. It's like, oh my god.
Oh my goodness! I'm sorry, people in the chat. I've just realised I told you I've got earplugs in and I can't hear my phone. I think Mike, are you still here? I think he is. Thank you, thank you. And Ellie, I don't know if she's still here. Thank you. And Daniel. I must have only just seen Daniel's in the thingo, but thank you. I love you. Thank you. Oh, yes, I said thank you to you, Daniel, but I missed the others. But Ellie knows I love her, and Maiko, if you're in there still, I saw you just before, so I think you are.
Yeah, I talked to you that much. I'm going to shut up now. Crow Daddy.
Yeah, Crow will still be awake. He'll still be awake. And Kassy looks like. So, Kassy, what are you hearing?
I just thought
this
I heard.
Getting like it should be an investigation.
I just heard like something plastic fall, like a hollow drop noise, and so I just went in my kitchen because that's where it sounded like it came from. And there's like a pudding cup that's on the floor, but I don't know if that's what I heard. My cat was laying down over there, and I don't know. I don't know. It could have just been nothing.
If any ghosties in Kassy's house can hear me, I'll be there soon. You just watch out. Leave her alone. She's talking to me. Crow's gone.
Yeah, he's dropped out.
It must be late. What time is it?
It's 1:22.
Yep.
And what? Same for you. And Crow would be way ahead. Although Crow's
no, we're all
awake.
in the same time zone.
We're all in the same time zone.
You're in the future.
Oh, are you? I'm in the future.
Hey, Kassy. Well, real quick. So far, with you out there and investigating, what have you learned, and how has it shaped? How has it helped shape your belief? And seeing other things that go on YouTube, with a lot of the craziness, has that give you a different perspective on certain things that go on? I mean, obviously, trying to form my question here, I got a lot on my mind at the moment with some of the talks that we were having. But anyhow, let me try that again.
Okay.
Again, I'm getting distracted.
I was trying to follow, and I'm like,
I'm sorry. I got, like I said, March is not a fun month. So being out there and investigating, what have you taken from it? What have you learned? Has it reinforced your belief? Has it kind of shaped and molded what you believe a little bit? And with all, like I was saying, the craziness that's going on, when you watch a lot of when you see a lot of YouTube channels and all the craziness that they claim happens, are you kind of in a way sort of disappointed that you're not experiencing all the crazy stuff that so-called other channels are experiencing and capturing?
Okay. Hopefully I'll cover all this. So me going into the paranormal, even listening, I initially thought ghosts were all demons for the longest time. And it wasn't really, even when I first started watching YouTube back in 2019, I still had kind of the mindset of them as demons. And then I think slowly it started my being around people investigating, or not because I wasn't investigating yet, but I think watching other people, and I'm realizing, okay, maybe it isn't demons, right? And then it kind of slowly changed in the aspect. So I'm completely different than what I was when I first started being interested in the paranormal in this sense, right? And I don't know if I ever really fully believed like they were demons, but I think I just because I was always taught that, so I was kind of like I had to kind of believe that. And then now obviously it's completely different. I don't think they're demons. I mean, I'm sure there's demons out there. I haven't really come across that in investigating yet.
Or that you know of, because we never know.
That I know of. I'm trying to think. Okay, what the other question? So I'm not really disappointed because to me, what I've caught has been exciting to me. I don't know if it's been exciting for other people to watch me catch what I'm catching, but to me, it's exciting. And yeah, I don't have things flying across the room or things like whatever happening, but to me, I'm excited about it. And that's why I even do YouTube, because before I was just going to investigate for myself, but I might as well put it out there what I catch if I catch anything. I've been pretty lucky that I've at least caught EVPs of some sort on an investigation. I might not have like a whole heck of a lot of evidence or whatever, right? But at least to me, I find it exciting. So that's kind of why I do it. And I'm not like it sucks because like a lot of those teams that are like the fakers get massive subscribers, and it sucks because there's so many people watching, and that part sucks in a sense. And I kind of wish like people who are doing it for real are seen more, but at the same time, like we're not having the crazy things happen. So that's why we're not getting seen that way.
That's the thing too. Those crazy things aren't really happening.
No,
like, they're not happening. It's fake.
And it just sucks that people like are believing it, and they're like lying to people, and that's what really, really sucks. Right.
And you know, what really bothers me the most, it's not necessarily like, you know, my channel's relatively small, but it is growing fast, and I love that. But it bothers me because, well, for one, they're giving a very an unreal expectation of what the paranormal is really like. And yes, it can be harmful to certain individuals as well, because there are people, and this was something that Backroads Haunting actually talked about a little bit in a recent video. There are people who have lost loved ones, and they want to connect with those loved ones, and they see some of these people out there claiming that, oh, you know, I'm connecting with all these people. And to me, it's like when somebody, it sucks, it's horrible when somebody passes away, you miss them. It's just awful. But at the same time, you have to let that person go. And you also, you know, we have to move on. And it bothers me because they're enabling these certain content creators are enabling people not to move on. They're holding them back. It's like kind of just keeping their emotions and their mental state sort of like at hostage. And that, you know, that does bother me a lot. It bothers me that some of these, or most of them, let's be honest, they go to well-known haunted locations, and these locations are expensive, and they show, oh Lord, all this crazy stuff happened. And then people go there, they pay a lot of money, and nothing. And they're
Nothing
like,
happens.
What the heck? Did I do something wrong? Am I investigating wrong? And I've even had people tell me, oh, you must be doing it wrong, or you're just not open enough, or things like that. It is harmful. It really is. And the fact that, you know, they're making money based on lies is, I hate it. I really do hate it. But, you know, I love what you're doing, Kassy. I think it's great. I mean that. Okay. And I'm glad Ron got involved. And I think what is so great about your channel is that Ron, watching him change, going from just whatever to, oh, okay. The fact that you were able to capture that is awesome, because that doesn't happen. We don't get to see that. And you have that out there. And I think that is awesome. Hey, Summer. No, I love it. And I continue doing it. And hopefully, we can go to a location and collab. I'm trying for Bobby Mackey's, but it's kind of a pain in the butt right now. So.
Okay. Yeah. Eventually, I have like 3 days left of vacation I can take off for next year. So, or this year, I should say. But yeah. I just saw a question in the chat about my tattoos, if it was representing any of my gifts or sensitivities. No. They're all basically, hold on. This arm is backwards, is all my birth month flowers of my family. And then this arm is basically all my friends. Obviously the Weeping Willow for my channel, Cardinal for my papa, and then New Reality. And then He Should Not Be Named. And then, but now I represent something else and not Who Shall Not Be Named. The wolf is, a lot of it is like book characters. And then I have a lava lamp ghost. So that's kind of for ghost hunting. A lava lamp ghost. And then the phoenix is mostly just book related tattoos. Oh, and then I got my Jason tattoo. And then I got my tattoo for my kids and stuff. But yeah, nothing related to, friends that are in ghosts, or that do go, or what? Not do ghosts. We investigate God.
Kassy's tired.
Words
hey,
are not
Crow.
words.
Crow.
Yes.
I'm going to allow you to have the last word on this live. Well, almost. We'll probably have some more last words, but because you're always sitting there quietly. You never make any silly noises. You never say anything. You're just so quiet. You want to say something?
Well, it's hard to talk with you guys. I'm serious.
I know.
I did talk way too much. I apologize.
Listen.
Jason's not here, so there you go.
No, I've had a good time. I did fall asleep on the couch, and it's all good though. And but no, I'm gonna jump off here. But this was awesome, and thanks for everybody in the chat for hanging out. And I'm working on another video.
And if anyone hasn't checked it out, Crow has an episode up. It premiered day before yesterday, Monday. I watched
something
it.
like that.
And did it. Yeah. But go to Crow's channel and watch his newest offering to scare the bejeebies out of you in regard to artificial intelligence. But yeah, it's pretty awesome, but not in a good way. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, go, because it's an episode. I enjoyed it, Crow. I liked it.
It's really good.
So that's on that Crow of Judas channel. And Joe, have you got anything happening this week, or just some lives, or what are we doing?
Got something next month. Something special. It'll be cool. I can't give too much away, but I also want to say, Karen, thank you for that video, the happy birthday video. I loved it. It was great.
Oh. I knew you'd love Crow jumping out of the cake.
That was really good.
I promised you someone sexy jumping out of the cake.
That body was lifelike too.
I know. And a lot of the ladies in the chat thought, ooh. So
very lifelike. Wow. Very close to the real thing.
And Kassy, what's happening with you tomorrow night? Oh, hang on. Is it tomorrow night your time?
Yes. Yeah. So tomorrow night, or I guess technically it's tonight because it's Thursday now. But at 9 p.m. Eastern, I have my part 4 finale episode that will blow your pants off. And I'm just
so excited.
Because Crow didn't even back that. So
for sure. No hype.
Right?
It is not.
It's not.
No, it is no hyping either. It's really that good.
Oh, cool!
I'm really curious to see.
Yeah.
I'm just really curious to see what people are going to say about it and what their opinions are.
That's my biggest thing. That's why I cannot wait for people to watch it to see their reactions, because Crow's reaction was freaking priceless. And I have only showed it to Reese. Reese knows about it, obviously, because she was there. She wasn't there. Never mind. I'm not going to give it away.
She hasn't showed it to Joe or myself.
I know. We're just correct.
Yes.
Yeah, we got the middle finger.
We're
on
not
that
her
one,
best
Karen.
friend. Crow's her best friend.
Yeah, send it to Joe and Karen tonight, Kassy, so Joe can see this.
I'm gonna send it. I'll send it.
Thank you, Daniel. And
I sent it to Reese. Her reaction was pretty. Ron was in the moment of me editing, hearing it. That's what it is, but it's crazy, guys. And you almost don't even need headphones for it. So headphones are best. But
we do or we don't. Do we need headphones?
I would wear headphones for a better listening pleasure, but it's also you don't necessarily need it. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna find it right now. So I
reckon when the ghost floats past and all that mist flies out of its butt, that's probably
What?
I'm just making up things that it could be.
Oh,
it could be a ghost.
Oh, sorry. I'm like,
yeah. It could be Kassy getting touched on the steps. It could be, I don't know. Could be lots of things.
You know what? What if? Okay, what? No. I was gonna say, what if you watched it? I'll wait till after. You guys can when we get offline, and it's ended. I'll send it to you now. And I want to see your reaction.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Cool.
So.
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
Bye, everyone. See you later.
Well, I was going to end it anyway. So, guys, tune in tomorrow night, Thursday, for Kassy's episode, and you'll get to see what has been caught. Are you going to have a little live afterwards, Kassy, or?
No, because I have to work midnight tomorrow. So I have to work at midnight.
All right.
Yeah. So
we know, because we know Ron's a little bit of a, he has to get on the screen. You could see how upset he was tonight. He sounds asleep, isn't he? Because he hasn't said a thing. He must be out like a light.
I heard him moving around. Our oldest woke him up because she wasn't feeling well, so I don't know what's happening. So, but now he's probably in bed. But. Okay, Joe, don't watch it yet. Or you watching it?
I just want to say
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not watching anything. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody. Kassy never shuts up. She just talks all the time. We can't give you a sneak peek. You just have to watch tomorrow. But yeah, thank you so much. And thank you for staying with us, as I honestly only meant to stay on for an hour. It was but we got to talk about, as usual, all sorts of things. Aliens, grief, aliens, more grief.
Don't blame it on the aliens. Don't blame it on the aliens.
All right, guys. We'll see you. I won't see you tomorrow night, but I'll be in the chat. So thanks, everybody, and just thank you. Love to you all. Have a good night and go to sleep, Shell Dust. You need some sleep. Night. Bye, everybody.
Take care, everybody.
Bye. Love you all.